Hello everyone, Richard Lewis here with another quick video. Now, as you know, if you've been following the channel, we've been talking a lot about ES Force and what their multiple ownership, multiple financial interests in several esports properties could mean in terms of there being a conflict of interest somewhere down the road, and whether or not esports tournaments and tournament organizers should take a stance against this. Now, we've been researching and digging into all sorts of things surrounding this. We've taken a long, hard look at a lot of teams. And thanks to the efforts of the Richard Lewis Show research team, and the chap who helped us with this knows who he is, we uncovered something that we just want to present there. Again, we're doing like what we did with the Phantom Lord piece here. We are not making any accusations. We're just presenting facts, and you can draw your own conclusions or ask your own questions. So this video will pertain to Fnatic, the Fnatic organization. We know that Fnatic themselves are a registered UK company. You can find them on Companies House. They incorporated in October 2011 in the UK, and they've been filing their returns ever since. But we need to tell you about another company, and this company is called Sanpa. That's SANNPA. And the reason this company is called that is because the founder of Fnatic was a chap called Sam Matthews. That's the SA. And then that flows into the name of his mother, who helped him run the company and used to deal with the company accounts. She was called Anne Matthews. And then PA is Patrick Satamon. That's Khan. Now, this company was created in November 2013, and immediately, as you can see here, and again, this is all verifiable, you can go look at this yourself on the UK Companies House, they transferred the shares from Fnatic into Sanpa. So it's basically a secondary company which they use to hold the shares and manage Fnatic, and Anne and Sam and Patrick were basically board members of this company. So obviously this isn't anything abnormal in and of itself. We had a long look at what this could all mean, and you'll see that there's terminations of Anne and Patrick. They no longer are in this directorial position. They've appointed new people onto that board, and it's all par for the course so far. But then we saw a registration of charge, which was made on the 21st of July 2016. Now, I'm not a business whiz, so I didn't know exactly what a charge was. But to put it in very basic layman's terms, when you register a charge, what you're doing is you're registering a document that shows that you've had a loan from another source. So again, just to put it in basic terms, and we had two business people look at this today, two people with expertise in founding businesses and legal knowledge, and basically what literally all it means is that the individual that is the named charge has loaned money to an organization, to an entity, and you register this document because if you loan money to a company, obviously you want to make sure that it gets paid back, so it has to be documented, and also as well it gives the chargee certain rights, the person who loaned the money. So we had a look at this document for Sanpa Limited, and you will notice a name on there and the details of charge, and that name is Jens Hilgers. I'm sure you've come across this name before. To put it in context, Jens Hilgers is currently the co-owner of G2 Esports. That's G2 Esports. He co-owns that with Ocelot, the player, and has done since November 2014. He also sits on the supervisory board of ESL and Turtle Entertainment. And we've brought this up before. This has come up in the past where we've said we don't understand how a member of ESL can co-own a team, a member of the supervisory board. And this was explained away by saying, well, he doesn't really have any input or vision. He doesn't really, influence, I should say. He doesn't have any input or influence. He doesn't really make decisions. He just sits on a supervisory board. That's it. Now, his history with ESL is very well established. He was the co-founder and CEO of ESL. He also was the chairman of the board until August 2015. So he actually co-owned G2 while sitting as the chairman of the board, which again, I would argue that's a conflict of interest. And now he continues to sit on the supervisory board. So I covered this story before. I covered it while I was working at Breitbart. And I don't know if people remember this, but when FaZe acquired the old G2 esports Counter-Strike roster, there were a lot of allegations flying around, and again, I'll qualify them as allegations, but I had my sources, and I absolutely trust my sources explicitly. If I publish something, I've seen fairly compelling evidence, and what they said was that they had the players themselves had tried to leave and go to FaZe. And what had happened was Jens Hilgers had leveraged his position at ESL, again, allegedly, according to these sources, and had threatened the players that if they go to FaZe, they wouldn't be able to compete in ESL events. And that was, this was allegedly done over Skype conversations, direct by voice. Hilgers obviously didn't leave a paper trail, it seems, on this, but his other co-owner, Carlos Ocelot Rodriguez, allegedly did leave such a trail. And this had to be resolved by Ralph Reichart. He actually acted, the other founder of ESL, he acted as an intermediary to resolve this. Apparently, there was threats from other teams saying that, hey, if FaZe come in the space and they do things like this, we stand with ESL on this one. Maybe they're WISA teams, whatever. Go make your own conclusions about that. WISA was just a twinkle in the eye back then. This was reported at the start of the year. So anyway, so that was something that's worth mentioning. So I've come across Jens Hilgers before, his relationships with ESL, his relationships with G2, and I personally believe that there's a conflict of interest there. Jens Hilgers also, just as an aside, owns a company called Dojo Madness, which is kind of sponsored G2 and worked with them in various capacities. So, just putting that out there, it's not dissimilar to the things we've seen with the ES4 setup. Now, back to this document. This is what's particularly interesting about this details of charge, and that is that as we scroll through, it is agreed, and this applies to Fnatic and Fnatic Gear, which is the peripheral company that Fnatic created when they purchased another smaller peripheral company to rebrand it as Fnatic Gear. There are some certain rights afforded to the person that has loaned this amount of money, and we have no idea what this amount of money could be. In terms of the financials, we know that Sanpa did create about £2 million worth of share capital. That's also in their filings. But we don't know how much this loan actually was for, or what they were getting in return, or what the terms and conditions of paying that loan back actually are. All we know is that Jens Hilgers is the chargee. Now, if you go through this document and you have a look, you will see in section 3.1, it says there's a continuing security for the payment and discharge of the secured liabilities. The charger, with the full title guarantee, charges to the chargee by way of a trust fixed charge all the shares owned by it and all related rights, which would mean if for any reason Fnatic couldn't pay back this loan, Jens Hilgers would effectively get Fnatic and Fnatic Gear. That is what that means. And obviously that means he would have control of that organization. But on that note, if you scroll right down, and I think this is, let me just see. I did spend a lot of time reading this. I think it's 17. Let me just double check. So 17.1, yes. So 17.1 says that by way of security, the charger irrevocably appoints the chargee, every receiver and every delegate separately to be the attorney of the charger and in its names on its behalf, and as its acts and deeds to execute any documents and do any acts and things that the charger is required to execute and do under this deed, and or any attorney deems proper or desirable in exercising any of the rights, powers, authorities, and discretions conferred by this deed or by law on the chargee, any receiver, or any delegate. So effectively, the chargee, the person that has loaned this amount of money, has power of attorney. They make decisions for this organization. That's there in black and white. Now, the reason we wanted to present this is because I think a lot of people felt we were being harsh or unfair on ES Force. A lot of people have said, hey, you know, this shouldn't be a big deal. It is a big deal. And I'd like to think that by demonstrating that there seem to be other financial ties now between Fnatic, G2, and of course, this individual is a board member of ESL and has a long tenure with ESL. Once again, these waters get muddied, these waters get convoluted, and I'm not accusing anybody of any wrongdoing, but you can see, again, how there is this potential for conflicts of interest. So I just wanted to put this video out there quickly. I'm not going to speculate about what it could mean. I'm not going to bring Sam in to do his laughs or anything like that. These are just the facts. We're going to give you more in this story as it develops. We're going to sit back and wait and see what the statements are in regards to these findings and what it could possibly mean. But it just goes to show that it isn't just ES Force that have financial ties to multiple teams in the CS space. And I think we can all agree that our scene would be a lot better if we had very clear understandings of who owns what, where the money comes from, and certainly that all of those entities were individual from each other so we can preserve competitive integrity in the Counter-Strike community. Thanks a lot for watching this video. See you next time.